pleasure talking with one of America's great conservative commentators, none other than Dave Milner of EDL, English Defense League, where he acts as a peon to Jeff Mitchell. And that's on Blog Talk Radios on Sundays at 3:30 p.m. and on SHR Media, shrmedia.com, where he is the unpleasant blind guy. You can get some of his great news and information from his program there at all times. You can just click on this segment there. It's a great joy and pleasure to have you back, Dave. You're back from your 1-year vacation from the program.
I almost wish I'd stayed going. You know, we did have one segment earlier, of course.
Yeah.
Came back, but I gotta admit, yeah, it does make you almost wish that you stayed gone. But then again, if the left has their way, I'll be gone anyway.
Yeah, we all will.
The vacation will continue forever. Yeah.
Your free ticket to the concentration camp. It's in the mail. It's in the mail. Dave, you came back on the 6th. You came back at a time where apparently America was all in this evil. Apparently the right was affixed to a plan to overthrow the government. And they single-handedly destroyed the American Constitution on that day by forcing those on the right, the Republicans, to cede the election to Donald, forgive me, I wish it were Donald Trump, but actually Joe Biden and his sidekick mattress. No, I'm sorry, Kamala Harris. On that particular day, what were your thoughts? What were you believing occurred that showed such dramatic, tragic responses in terms of even the impeachment process for the President of the United States?
Well, first, of course, it's that came back in the morning and immediately began looking at things. And as everybody knows, at that point, it was just a pro-Trump rally. Everything was a nice party atmosphere, and of course, protesting the stolen election and things of that nature. It was only until later that I began hearing about this video, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, censorship is going to be much bigger than just one account. And let me give you an example of that.
Yeah.
My account at Twitter, I get a weekly thing that tells me who followed me and who unfollowed me. Well, it's normally pretty steady. I don't have a lot of followers, right around 4,000 or so. All right, because I normally don't allow bots and stuff like that. I like real people. Okay, so this and usually it's like you have like 5 followers and 4 unfollowers, or flip that number around. Okay, and usually the unfollowers are bots. Okay, this week I had 5 new followers and over 220 unfollowers. Now that means one of two things is going on. Either Twitter is messing with the numbers, or so many people have left Twitter in disgust that has occurred. And I'm not the only one. Steve Dace, who is a conservative talk show host himself, had a similar thing happen. He lost hundreds or thousands of Twitter followers in a similar time period. So the creation of non-persons, which is going to be you and me and everyone who is not a Marxist, is heavily underway, and it's being done not only by the government. I mean, I appreciated what the coach, that fellow you had on earlier.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I appreciated what he had to say, but he was talking about the government, and it's not just the government. Yeah. It's business and it's big tech. All of the Delta Airlines, for instance, putting the people who told some home truths to some rhino senators on a no-fly list. All right, we're going to see this sort of thing happening in the United States of America, and very soon we're all going to be Tommy Robinson. I said this on EDL Radio, by the way, Ken, which everyone can hear at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday on Blog Talk Radio. Come check it out, everybody. Tommy Robinson has been a civil rights activist in the UK for over 10 years, actually right around about 11 years at this point. At this point, he cannot sit in a hotel and have a cup of tea with a friend. He cannot rent a car. He certainly can't go and get any kind of a job. Stripe, the same funding institution that cut off funding for Republicans and Trump, right? They cut him off a long time ago.
Yeah.
In other words, he has become in the UK a non-person, and they are just looking for excuses to jail him, because they basically want him to die in prison, because he does not follow along with the narrative that Islam should be embraced as the norm, and the children of the UK should be used as sex toys if that is what the Mohammedans want. And certainly there should be no parity of treatment under the law for Muslims and non-Muslims. Mm-hmm. Now, this is just an example, Ken.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody in the United States is like, well, okay, this has nothing to do with us. But you're noticing, I'm speaking to your viewers now, you're noticing that now it's beginning to have something to do with us, only it's not about Islam and things of that nature. It's about whether or not you agree with with Captain Dementia and Prophylactic Girl, the new super twins that have been leveraged into the office of President of the United States. If you don't think that this election was legitimate, then you're an enemy of the people. Yeah. And the left is going to do everything they can to try and make sure that you are punished for that. Dark times, Ken, aren't just coming. The dark times that I and the EDL radio team warned about for years are here.
They are here. The communists are here. And, the sad thing is I'm listening to a lot of cyber chatter. And first and foremost, I want to apologize to you and to our viewers. especially those who will be listening to this interview on possibly BitChute, but definitely YouTube. That music was playing during the early part of our interview, and someone just tweeted me and said I effed up the interview, so I do apologize for effing up the interview. I think the interview will be great from this particular point on. I do apologize to each and every one of you for that.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I will have a copy of it up without the music.
There you go.
Will come on the 27th of this month. So that'll be scheduled in there, and you guys will get it without the music. Just go to Spreaker.com and look for the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and that will be on at 1 p.m. on the 27th. So
there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So for my error, which I was charged $5 fine by none other than the chat master herself, the Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed. I will pay that to open heart closed case. Thank you all so much for bearing with my error. But real talk here, Dave. Many conservatives who are using the left's narrative and acting as apologists to condemn the quote-unquote violence that took place at the U.S. Capitol. These are the same ones who were variantly silent regarding the months of insurrection that were going on in Portland, in Seattle, in Los Angeles, New York, Baltimore, D.C., Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago. Insurrections happening all across America with the response, defund the police and vote for Joe Biden. And all of those things happened. Why are conservatives so cowardly that they can't see that this was a moment that our founding fathers might have said, you know what? Congratulations, good job.
Well, now some of the conservatives that you're talking about, some of the people who have a lot of listeners and a lot of sponsors have been heavily criticizing what took place at the Capitol on the 6th. Now, they also criticized the stuff that went on during the summer, but they're equating the two events, all right, or the two meta events, if you want to include the totality of all the events that occurred over the summer, over the past 10 months, all right, with BLM and Antifa and all these other sleazeballs. All right, they're saying that one is like the other, and frankly, I think the part of the reason why they're doing it, you hear even some of the big bugs saying, well, there's no proof that Antifa, oh yeah, there were one or two Antifa people there, but nobody had to follow them. And hey, they didn't have to involve. The reason I think, Ken, why they are doing this and why some of them are just backing off it altogether is because, again, they've got sponsors, they're making money, they do this for a living, they've got nothing else to fall back on. Yeah. Quite frankly, some of them, and as great Americans as they are, could never find a job in the private sector beyond what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So they're saying the things that they're saying because at this stage, they think they have no choice if they want to actually keep a job.
You know, the sad thing is that the censorship from the left we expect, the censorship from the right, we were suspect of, but we knew it may exist. But there's a report out of the Washington Post, and I want to thank my great friend, Jeff Dunnett of The Lid, who did a great expose on the fact that the Washington Post never confirmed that Cumulus Corporation asked its host to get off of the election issue, move on, don't talk about it anymore. Joe Biden is our legitimate president. There are 80 million Americans that do not feel he's legitimate, but they are also confused about what they should do about their own party. What should we do about the Republican Party from here?
That's a great question, and And you always know when I say that's a great question. I don't have a clear answer. Here's the thing, though, with this, of course, I think it was 180 million people, but it might have been right around there. It was certainly a majority because President Trump did win the election, and I want to throw my marker down too, just so this video will be banned off of YouTube for you. Joe Biden is not the legitimate president of the United States, nor will the government which he will set up be the legitimate government of the United States. So, I believe that it is quite okay to resist an illegitimate government. And I don't want to hear any feedback either because of that, because we've been hearing for the past 4 years, ever since the 2016 election.
Yeah.
President Trump is not legitimate. Resist, resist, resist. Well, now the resist shoe is on the other foot. All right. And the difference, though, Ken, for us, is going to be that we'll just basically resist in a nonviolent way. When the Supreme Court or some lower federal court says that a state has to do this or that, there will, I hope and pray, come states that will say, "Oh yeah, that's a really cute ruling. Yeah, we're doing it anyway, or we're not doing it." Okay, no, we will not marry the gays. Okay, we won't do that. Nah. That's all right. Thank you for the thought.
Exactly. You know, the unfortunate thing is Americans have watched the GOP for over the past, oh my God, 7 decades, if not greater than that. And they have gotten so used to cowering in the corner. And now you have pit bulls who are out there who are ready to go gangbusters. Just like I want to announce tonight that Pat Marr has been elected chairman of the D.C. Republican Party. And let me just be perfectly clear. Pat Marr is virtually a Democrat in sheep's clothing. And they're a bunch of pussies out of the D.C. Republican Party. And they did a tremendous job trying to keep people who were Trumpsters out of the D.C. GOP. But there are D.C. GOP people that are ready to take on those individuals who are in the establishment right now. But it doesn't require violence. It requires participation. It requires us to get involved. Should the GOPers who are out there, the Republicans, the independents, get more involved in terms of everything that has to do with elections in the United States, wherever they are?
Well, that goes to your earlier question. What do we do about the Republicans? And to my mind, it is always a good thing to get involved on the local level. That's where it starts. That's where it began. That's where the Republican Party began in the 19th century. All right, they didn't start at the top.
No.
And it is a lot harder for the people at the top to regulate those underneath if those underneath won't be regulated.
There you go.
All right, they can just kind of wave at them and say, yeah, okay, bye-bye. We'll see you. Now, this is up against a moneyed elite. One of the things, I was on a panel show with Dan Butcher years ago.
Yeah.
And I was talking with some other show hosts, and I was the one who said that the whole system of political parties is corrupt and we should stop doing it. And one of the other hosts said, "Oh no, we need to be in a party system because we need that for organization." And my response to that is always that you can have organization without a party system. You can have a database of candidates with their voting records and things of that nature on to peruse and decide what you want. These masks that the Republicans and even the Democrats wear, because trust me, there are Democrats out there who don't like the whole Antifa BLM thing and anything like that, but they're the ones who are squealing the loudest for all that stuff. They just want a job. That's part of the thing. All right, and these Republicans at the top who want to impeach President Trump and punish all of his supporters and all this sort of thing, they're the same. They just want a job. They just want to be up in D.C., go to the fancy wine and cheese parties and all the other parties, and some of the parties that are kind of behind the green door, if you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
get all the money and power and all that stuff. And their one job, Ken, is to keep the base in line. But that's what needs to happen with the base. Whether the base does what you suggest, which is which is infiltrate and take the jobs of the local Republican Party organizations and things of that nature, or whether a new setup is created whereby people's voting records and everything can be
Yep.
perused, and people can choose who to vote for based on that. Right?
Yep.
Those are two things that can be done about the Republicans, because clearly the Republican leadership wants absolutely nothing to do with us.
I agree. Listen, Dave, also want to ask you here, because I'm not one of the most brilliant people in the world. That's why I need Bonnie and Ms. Intern and Mrs. Biggs and Mary Brockman to lead and guide me over this process. But literally, on Inauguration Day, we will officially celebrate the ushering in of communism in the United States of America, because the military will be used to keep people from assembling peaceably in the nation's capital, the people's city. What say you, sir?
Well, does anybody remember back on the 4th of July, around the 4th of July, when everybody lost their minds because President Trump wanted a military parade?
Yes, I do.
Oh, no, it's going to look like the Soviet Union with all the tanks and missiles and everything going by. In fact, they said that in on the around the 4th of July in 2019.
Yep.
Right? They always say that unless it is them. And of course, part of the reason why they're having all these people is because now they need to portray you and myself and every other person who does not believe that this was a legitimate election as as the bogeyman.
Yeah.
I would say boogeyman, but that's something a little bit different. And here's the thing, though, Ken, and I have to warn about this because I know time is short here.
Yeah.
Guys, we can expect a lot of, I'd say a lot, certainly a few false flag terror attacks that will be blamed on the right.
Yeah.
There'll be people who will be targeting leftist politicians. I've been saying that to you, Ken.
Yep.
Remember, since 2018 with that
Yep.
show you did with me. All right, but you're going to see that it won't be us. And I will go to my grave believing that the person who killed that Capitol police officer was not of us.
Yes.
But there will be some of these attacks, and the very character of them is what people you have to watch. If it is someone who is blowing something up, if it is someone that is doing harm to someone else, if it is someone who is causing mischief, breaking windows, setting fires, that sort of thing, that ain't us. The left might blame us, but that is not us. Trump supporters, and more importantly, conservatives, because this isn't about President Trump, really. Ken, you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Are not that way. We do want peace. We will defend ourselves, but that does not extend to going out and doing harm to others. So I just want to warn people, watch the media and be prepared, because these things are on the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. military is being used for a political purpose on the 20th of January in Washington, D.C. It is to completely shut you up, completely shut you down, and to be used as a memorial to the day that communism became the way of life in America. That there is one party rule, And I'm going to tell you, like none other, this is not Dave Milner speaking, this is Ken McClinton. This country was not started because men and women cowered when they were oppressed. Men and women stood up for themselves against an evil and oppressive government. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that your founding fathers, who one of them said you have to always refresh the tree, expect a revolution every 20 years. Thank God that wasn't the case. But they are fearful of you because you have the right of freedom of speech, to assemble, to worship, and to defend yourself. In the next 30 days, they will do everything that they can to take those freedoms and liberties away from you. This will be the day that you will either wake up and stop all of this. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democrat in registration, but I vote Republican. That's just bull. You're going to stop that crap, and you're going to become patriots and take back your country. If you refuse to, there's a train headed to a concentration camp or re-education center, as there is in China, that will help you understand better the communist way of life. You don't have much time, people. You really don't. Dave Milner, it's always a great joy having you here. How can people watch and view your stuff, sir?
All right. Well, as you said, I'm Jeff Mitchell's sideman on the English Defense League radio show at 3:30 p.m. on Sundays on Blog Talk Radio. And I'm also available through the Western Free Radio Network and on SHR Media. My base page is at Spreaker.com. That's the Unpleasant Blind Guy at Spreaker.com. You'll find all kinds of goodies in there, including, yes, on the 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's my normal show time, by the way, Monday through Friday, and midnight Eastern on Saturdays. On the 27th, you'll find this program without the music of the first. Ken, I want to thank you, as always, for the opportunity.
I love you, brother.
God bless you and yours. And listen, if y'all find out anybody that wants a pet squirrel, I still have one. Eating its way up my apartment. I love you, brother.
I love you too. I'll send Jacob up there, and we'll take care of that squirrel for you.
Yeah, tell him snack time.
Snack time. There you go. Free squirrel. God bless you, man. Love you. Dave Milner, ladies and gentlemen. Love that man. He is a great conservative.